Hi everyone, here on the group. I thought I would do just a video with some thoughts within regards to the biasness that everyone can see that's taking place especially in the British media against Israel in so many different aspects, in all corners of this, let's say, of this entire topic of all the atrocities. There's a lot of media biases against Israel in different formats. I'll just explain a few of them in this shortish video. For example, I want to start off like, there's not that much noise within regards to the hostages at the moment for the calls for them to be returned immediately. There needs to be more everything. If you open all the websites and radio stations, it's going on about what's going on in Gaza, and it's not mentioning anything about the hostages, which is one of the key things within regards to this conflict. There must be much more done in the British media. There's a notion at the moment that just by seeing just interviews, they're interviewing a lot of people from across the political spectrum. A lot of people seem to be blaming this whole conflict on the settlements, and automatically they are attaching the settlements as being illegal, when it's very much, as you speak to top lawyers, it's either disputed, in many cases, many opinions, also top lawyers. There's been people from different countries in prominent positions saying they are legal also, and a lot of people are blaming them. There was actually a Jewish person that was on the TV yesterday, one of the TV stations in England, and she seemed to be blaming that the settlements that Israel has built, it was someone that was Jewish. She was actually, they brought her on, and this is like a vast minority opinion, a vast fringe opinion, where she seems to be blaming to some degree that about the settlements. That's why there hasn't been peace. Has been saying, didn't mention anything about all the rocket attacks, all the emotional trauma and everything else. She failed to specifically state that back in 2005, the Israeli government at the time, when headed by Ariel Sharon, they expelled hundreds of thousands of settlers at the time, and gave greenhouses, and they gave the opportunity for Gaza to become the next Singapore. No one mentions this in the media. Everyone's just mentioning the settlements, that has been the obstacle for everything, when these settlements are disputed or possibly legal, and they're mentioning that, and they failed to recognize that in 2005, there was all those greenhouses given away, all those, they expelled so many people, and so many Jewish people, so many Israelis saw what a disaster that move was in 2005 and were very much against it. A lot of the Rabbonim were very much against it, and everyone in the international media is silent within regards to this, and saying that no, Israel has to give up the settlements, it's their fault for all this is happening, which is absolute disgrace. Another thing on the topic of settlements, especially I think it was reported in Channel 4, if I'm not mistaken, and other media outlets in England, they would show that how the Palestinians are being evacuated and have to leave the villages because of settlement violence. So they don't necessarily say, that's not the whole story at all. First of all, the vast majority of people that are in the settlements are very peaceful, are very good people. It might be a fringe, a vast fringe, a tiniest fringe that might, which we all condone violence, and behind I'm saying that, but they don't say what the Palestinians are necessarily doing to the Jewish settlers. You know, there's a lot of them reported over from many sources are throwing rocks, hurling insults, threats, and everything else. They don't mention that in the media, especially in this Channel 4 clip. They're making out as if those people that are leaving are the total innocent parties over there, when that is very much not the case. There needs to be total investigation within regards to that also. So that's very important. And it's when they show these things. Another thing to add on, you know, the BBC have been, people are furious, and rightfully so, with regards to the BBC's description of the Hamas terrorists as militants. There's also some other British media outlets calling them freedom fighters. That, in a way, it makes them sound like heroes, like one of these people from Street Fighter, one of these things, calling them a freedom fighter, when this is absolutely disgraceful, and everyone should also complain within regards to that. Also, we see on Armistice Day, there's going to be these protests that are going to take place, which are hate protests in every aspect. You hear the chants that they're doing. So someone on LBC, one of the presenters on the radio station, was saying these are very peaceful protests because this was last week, there was only like 9 or whatever arrests going on, so it must have been peaceful. However, when you've got tens of thousands of people chanting these things and the police can't do anything about it, of course the police aren't going to do arrests, because they are chanting outrageous things against any Jewish person, basically, against the British nationals also they're doing. Where technically, if the police, you could argue, was doing their proper job, there will be tens of thousands of arrests there. That's another thing that is very much seen. Also, a lot of people are, politicians from across the political spectrum, are also blaming, once again going back to the territories, that if there wasn't this occupation, this, what is the word occupation? The Jewish people have been living in a lot of these areas for thousands of years over there. According to many other opinions, it is not illegal settlements over here. So it's disputed territory, and they've got to mention that also. And a lot of people are saying that are failing to ignore that these people that were massacred on the atrocity on the 7th of October, a lot of these people had a vision of peace. They actually had friends that were Palestinians. They donated a lot to Palestinians. They had a vision of peace and all those things. No one is mentioning those things in the international media. Another thing that they're not mentioning, which I've got to stress also, is that they're complaining about the Palestinians that might have been displaced in 1948 when Israel, they lost the war at the end. You've got to remember that. Also in 1967. No one mentions the nearly 900,000 Arabic and Sephardi Jews that were driven out of different Arab countries at that point in time, which is a very key issue, because that was more than 200,000 more the Jewish people that were expelled. A lot of them were kidnapped. A lot of them were abused. A lot of them were beaten up. A lot of them were murdered. No one mentioned they lost all their property and everything else. And that's outrageous. The BBC will want to mention all about the Palestinians, but how about these 900,000 Jews? If you want it to be proportional, they've got to make thousands of documentaries, the British media do, to describe the atrocities that happened to all those Jews during that time and how there was no compensation. So this is definitely anti-Semitism to the highest degree on that part also. But I just wanted to just highlight those things. But if you look at all the things, they bring in the people saying that it has to be a two-state solution, which, there's a reason for that. They blame it on Israel, that Israel has to give up things. Why should Israel give up anything? Ehud Barak and also the Prime Minister in 2000 gave the most outrageous offer to the Palestinians at the time, to Yasser Arafat, and he rejected it. And many, many people, the majority of people, were against it. Ehud Olmert, if I'm not mistaken, also offered the most generous thing, and they rejected it at the time. So they're going to reject anything. They only have one mission, seemingly, from all these things that we can see. Another thing the media is not reporting so much is that the Palestinians also reported over from many sources, they joined in the massacre on that specific day. And a lot of them don't condone the massacre. So as I stated before, we learn in Tractate Gittin, in Masechet Gittin on Tisha B'Av, we talk about that. I relate over the story of Kamsa and Bar Kamsa, where no one protested the atrocities that took place. It's as if they agree with it over there. And we also learn from in Parshat Vayeshev, famous story with regards to Shechem and Dinah, the atrocities that took place to Dinah over there, we see inside the Torah, and no one objected inside that town, inside that vicinity. They all had guilt to it, and the Palestinian people have not condoned it. A lot of them have celebrated in the streets. They're giving out toffees and candies. We even see in London, on the day of the massacre itself, people got out in the streets and celebrated. Where was the outrage over that? Where was the British media filming this stuff and calling this disgraceful behaviour out? So it's everywhere, and we need everyone now to advocate, to say the truth about Israel. We're coming in 1 month time exactly. Is going to be the festival of Hanukkah, the festival of light, and we can see here that we are the correct party here. We're bringing light to the world. You can see when there's Israeli vigils going on, it's full of singing, it's full of hope to release for peace, for our hostages to be released, and just blessings to come to Israel and to the whole world also. So Be'ez Hashem, I'll maybe do another video at a later stage on this, but we need to get out there and all of us have to show on our statuses, everything else, demand the release of hostages and demand for all the terrorism in Israel to finish, Be'ezrat Hashem. So wishing you all a good day, and hopefully and may Hashem protect all our chayalim, all the soldiers that are sacrificing so much to protect us, and have a meaningful day.